Welcome everyone to Crieff Common Good Fund. You'll all have got your papers. This is the actual first meeting since December last year. The decisions we took in August were done by written submissions by email. We'll come to that in a minute, but first of all, along with welcome, are there any apologies?
Yes, Convener, we have an apology from Councillor Lyle.
And that's understandable, yes, given. Secondly, are there any declarations of interest? Right, there being none, move on to item 3, and this is to approve the minutes of the last actual meeting we had on 18th December last year. Are those minutes approved?
Approved.
Thank you. Seconded?
Oh no, I wasn't at the meeting, so I can't.
And I'm actually just seeing, in fact, I should have maybe taken at the start an actual roll call. So can I ask who's all present? Obviously, we can see everyone online, but
yes, Convener. So obviously we have yourself, Councillor Donaldson, Councillor Brock.
I'm here.
Councillor Duff.
Present.
And Councillor McCall.
Present.
All members are present, Convener.
thank you. That should do that for the record. And as mentioned, Councillor Lyle has tendered his apologies. Turning again to item 3, the minutes of the meeting last year. These have been approved. Do we have a seconder?
I'm happy to second the convener.
Thank you. Any matters arising from those minutes? There being none, we move on to item 5. And this was the 3 applications for assistance in August this year. And we approved of one, the Kids Week in Crieff, and we approved a grant there of £500. I should point out there that Councillor Brock had declared an interest, and I think that should be noted for the record. The other 2 applications we had refused. I think we just formally note that that is what happened in August, and that leaves us with still £500 against budget in the Common Good Fund for Crieff. Right, I shall move to item 6, applications for financial assistance. There is one, and that is from Crieff Choral Group. Do you have any comments there? Anyone want to comment?
Yes, sorry, convener, I forgot that you have difficulty seeing the chat, and I've just seeing the chat, so my apologies. No, I didn't mean to interrupt. No, it's not really, I mean, it's not really a question. On reading the application, it seems to be that they're looking have a virtual event, if that still applies in as far as the guidelines are concerned, and they're looking for it. So do we know what the 250 is actually going to, or is it just going into the pot? Because I mean, certainly there's £450 there for a venue which may not be used. So I was just wondering if we had any indication of it was just going into the pot, or whether it was for something specific. Thank you.
I'm best to answer that. It's just going into the pot. It's not really for a specific item in the application.
No, that's fine. No, that's lovely. Thank you very much.
That's what I thought would be the case.
If I could comment,
Councillor Duff?
Yeah, it's possible that a venue may be required for the performers, but the audience may be virtual.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other comments? It's not a huge amount, it's £250. I think it is to show support. Do we agree the application?
Agreed, convener.
Right.
Happy to agree.
Thank you, Councillor Duff. Okay, that has been agreed. We now move on to item 7 and on the financial statement. Can I ask council officers to comment?
Thank you, Convener. It's Donald Coyne here. I'll provide a brief run through of the paper. The report is really for noting only, and it provides an update on the audited outturn for the fund for financial year 1920, and the report also provides income and expenditure, the projected outturn for the fund for the current financial year. So section 1.2 of the report just provides a brief update on what happened in 1920, and the audited surplus is confirmed as £852, and the fund balance at the 31st of March 2020 is £11,866. Section 2.1 of the report provides a brief update on the projections for the current financial year, and these actually remain unchanged from the report that was provided by email to members in August. So the estimated surplus for the year remains at £600, and the balance is expected to close at £12,466 at 31st of March. Further details provided in Appendix 1. Happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions?
May I ask a question, Convener? Sorry, myself again. Mr. Coyne, thank you very much indeed for that. It's maybe not one that you can answer, and I noticed that we are moving forward and what the position is going to be, but the majority of money comes in from land and properties that are rented out in some form, and many businesses and many community groups and what have you have been affected by COVID, and their income is reduced. So is there any repercussions from that we can see coming forward to the fund? Has there been any indication that maybe there might not be the income on the fund as we would normally have due to COVID restrictions?
Yeah, I've liaised regularly with our estates colleagues who manage the rents for us. At the moment, there is no impact. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen further down the line, but at the moment, we don't foresee an impact. But we'd certainly update the committee members as soon as possible if you knew anything was going to change. So, okay.
No, that's reassuring at the moment. Thank you very much. Thank you, Convener.
Any other comments?
Sorry, Convener, thank you.
Councillor Duff.
It's in Appendix 1, Donald, and when I'm looking at the actual to-date column, there's a figure of £800 against rents, fees and charges, but a total of £400 below it. Is that typo?
Oh, well spotted, Councillor Duff, yes. Yeah, that should be 800 and the actual should be 800. Yeah, so that's obviously we've achieved half the rents for the year to date. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Right, what I'm going to propose, I'll see what others think. We have a surplus at the moment of £250 against budget of 1,000 for the current year in terms of grants. The same applied last year. I think it's £200. I'm going to propose, given the amounts involved, and certainly for the current year we're 250 below budget, but it is only 250. To avoid really probably unnecessary paperwork, that we close the fund for the current year if we're able to do so, and then we roll those monies over into next financial year, possibly next. I think next Common Good Fund meetings are in April, so that's point one. Point two, and Councillor Duff, you raised this as well back in August. Given this, the small size of the fund relative to certainly Perth Common Good Fund, we make it as policy going forward that we will take applications up to a maximum of £500, and that those are solely for community groups, voluntary groups, not for individuals and not for paid staff. And we make it clear that the maximum application is for 500. Can I ask Donald, are we able to do that?
Yeah, I mean, The way the fund runs is entirely at the discretion of the committee. I mean, I don't know if it would cause colleagues who actually manage the applications any issues, so maybe Christopher might want to comment on that, or Lee.
We're happy to close the application until next financial year if that's what committee members are minded to do so.
I think the question, if I may, convener, regarding thresholds is potentially a difficult one for us because there are no specific criteria, as you know, attached to the Crieff Common Good Fund as there are in Perth. Normally, if a group that is eligible or an individual that is eligible applies, we would be duty bound effectively to take it to committee for a decision. But what we could do is, anytime we receive an application, is to run it past yourself as convener first, and then you can determine whether or not you feel it merits coming to committee.
How do other members of the committee feel on this, in particular Councillors McCall and Brock?
Sorry, no, I got it. Sorry, convener. Councillor McCall here. In all honesty, the first thoughts that come into my mind, I mean, we are running at a surplus at the moment. We're not actually spending the budget that we're allocating. So I would like to be able to make sure that people and community groups that fall within the criteria actually don't feel that they can't apply. I don't want to narrow it down really in any way, because it's not as if we're getting a huge amount of people coming forward, and the amounts that we're giving out are so small, but we're not spending our budget in a year. So I'm concerned over dissuading people coming forward to the Common Good Fund, because that money is there for them, and so that's my initial thoughts. Don't know if that takes it to a conclusion, but that's certainly where I was thinking. Not that I'm perfectly happy to state that there's a maximum of £500. We don't have huge sums of money, and I'm also happy to cap it at the moment for this year to stop that. But we do have a surplus each year, so I'm not sure I would want to reduce the people coming forward.
If I may come in, convener.
Councillor Duff.
Yeah, I think the issue that we were struggling with was that if it was the policy of the committee to try only to kind of spend the interest on the account or whatever the budget would be, that people were aware of that before they applied. So if they were applying for, £3,000, £4,000 or whatever, they knew that it was the policy of the group not to, to be able to give amounts of that size, given the size of the fund in general. So it was really an awareness of the kind of policy that the committee would have in terms of considering grants around it, just not so that people didn't get their expectations up that the Common Good Fund could, contribute large amounts to whatever their event or cause was.
Anyone else?
Yeah, convener, can I just come in? It may well be because of the kind of year that we've had, that the reason no groups have been able to do anything this year, that there's been no applications come in, and it may well be that hopefully things will improve next year and the groups will want to start celebrating again, and we may have funding applications coming in. I think it'll be up to the committee to decide how much we give anyway when they put their application in. So I don't want to deter anyone from making an application, because I would think that next year will be hopefully a better year, and they will want to put back on whatever they've done in previous years. So I don't want to deter them, and I would like to just see it left open for it coming to committee to decide as an application comes in. Because if we start doing that, then it might put the wrong vibes out to the community, and that they may deter them from applying. So yeah, I would like to just leave it as the applications come in, and we take each one individually by merit on how they've been, and the reason why, and if it's going to make a difference to the town and Crieff, then I think we need to look at them individually.
Lee Haxton, I know, wants to come in.
Thank you, Convener. Yeah, it was just to advise that when we receive an application, of course, as officers, we're aware of the level of funding that's available. So if we receive an application that's for an amount that's way in excess of the available funding, then we of course advise applicants that that is the case and that they shouldn't expect to receive anything like what their request may be. But as they have requested that amount, we feel obliged to put that in front of committee for your decision. It's not really for us to decide on that.
Okay. Anyone else? Right, above all, I take the view we most assuredly do not want to deter people and groups, voluntary groups, from applying. So I think sensing the feeling of the meeting, we keep the fund open, although we have only 250 against budget for the current year. However, going forward, I think if people were agreeable, we make the maximum amount that can be granted, except in exceptional circumstances, £500, and we restrict to voluntary groups, and we do not cover paid employment of any kind, or indeed individuals. It's purely oriented to voluntary groups. Would people agree with that? Anyone?
Thank you, Convener. Yeah, sorry, I'm just it's so difficult when you just come in. But anyway, yeah, I'm happy to I'm happy to leave the fund open. As you say, it is only £250. But I say we do have a carry forward surplus. So we'll need to we need to sort of look at how we address that moving forward, because if we just keep increasing our surplus, then we're not doing the job really that we're here to do. But I'm happy to keep the fund open, and I'm happy to agree that maximum £500. And on your point regarding individuals, totally accept entirely that it's somebody that's getting paid, but I don't know what the background is for, say, an individual who is volunteering to do something, and would they be able to get access in that respect? So there's a bit of a grey area there, and I was wondering if I could maybe have a steering from officers on whether, under this new premise put forward by the convener, would an individual volunteering to do something still be able to apply?
Ask officials on that.
I'm happy to do my best to answer that one, Convener. The premise of common good is that it should be, as you know, to the benefit of the people of the borough. So an individual would be classed as a member of that borough. So I see no reason why an application from an individual would be disqualified on those grounds.
Yes, then thank you, Convener. I'll just come back on that then. So if that's the case, then yes, I'm happy with that stipulation that it's a £500, but nobody who's getting employed, it's not an employed position, but anybody under a volunteering, whether it be a group, a community group, or an individual, continues to come forward, then I'm happy to proceed on that basis, and that I would agree to that.
Okay. Do we have general agreement on that?
Yeah, I'm happy to agree on that, providing it gives the benefit to the town of Crieff and stays within that borough. I'm quite happy to. I agree with that.
Happy to support also, Convener.
Okay, that's then established as policy for going forward. I take Councillor Duff's comments about about expectations, as we can't meet applications of 2,000, 2,500 as we had earlier this year. We keep the fund open. My own thoughts was to take that 250 and try to roll it forward into next year, plus the other 200 from last financial year. But I hear what's said. We do not want to deter local community groups, so hence we agree that is policy. Right. Any other items? Any other business?
If I can just confirm then, Convener, Christopher will update the Common Good webpage on the Perth and Kinross Council website, advising any applicants of the recently agreed criteria that you've requested for Crieff regarding the maximum application, etc.
Okay, agreed?
Agreed.
Right. Any other business?
No, convener?
Just to conclude,
Convener, can I
Councillor-
just ask for clarification? As the 250 is still going to be live and our next meeting isn't going to be till April, will that be in the new financial year anyway?
I think our next meeting is actually, I think
Like
it's
you said earlier, April. I just wonder.
I think there might be one in February.
Right, okay.
yes. Yeah, 22nd of February.
Right, that's fine.
So, but that's what we've agreed, and that's what we will do. Any other items? Right,
No,
just
convener. Yep.
right, just one final thing for the minutes of this meeting, and also to formally sign off the minutes from a year ago. How do you want me to do that? Will an electronic signature do? Just to formally sign off.
Just that it's just on record that you've agreed with Councillor Donaldson, so that's it now approved.
Okay, right. Well, that being the case, I close the meeting. I wish you all the best for the festive season, Christmas and New Year, and we shall possibly meet again in February. But thank you very much for your attendance. Okay.
Yeah.